Moonshine and Secrets, Chapter 1. The 1930s Deep South was a place of slow summers, haunting blues, and whispered stories. In a small isolated town surrounded by dense forests, the name Black Mona was both a hymn of admiration and a curse of fear. Mona was unlike anyone the town had ever known. Her cocoa butter skin glistened like sunlight on honey, and her deep red dress flowed like a river of blood against her curviest frame. The men of the town were hopelessly smitten, offering her gifts of moonshine, jewelry, and their hearts. But the women, they knew better. They whispered about Mona in hushed tones on porches and in kitchens, warning their husbands to steer clear of her path. She's not just beautiful, they said. She's dangerous. Chapter 2, the beginning of a mystery. Claire was one of those women, young and determined. Her life seemingly ordinary until her fiancé John vanished without a trace. The last anyone had seen of him, he was delivering a batch of moonshine to Black Mona's secluded, ivy-covered house at the edge of the woods. Claire, devastated and desperate for answers, began to watch Mona closely. One warm summer night, she saw Mona leave her home and slipped into the woods. Gripping a lantern tightly, Claire followed. Careful to stay hidden, she watched Mona glide through the trees, her dress shimmering faintly under the moonlight. At first, Claire thought Mona was simply going for a nighttime stroll, but then she saw it, a faint glow emitting from Mona's hands, as if she was cradling the very souls of the men she had bewitched. Claire, emboldened by her anger and heartbreak, broke into Mona's house the next day while she was away. The air inside was thick with the scent of herbs and candles. The room was filled with strange artifacts, locks of hair tied with ribbon, scraps of torn letters, and an ornament box that seemed to hum with an otherworldly energy. Claire opened the box and gasped. Inside were small glowing figurines, each one resembling a man who had disappeared from the town, including John. They pulsed faintly, as if alive, and Claire realized the horrifying truth. Mona wasn't just enchanting men, she was stealing their souls. The confrontation. That night, Claire rallied the town folks armed with torches and courage. They marched to Mona's house. Mona met them on a porch, calm and unbothered. The flickering firelight danced across her face as she gazed at the angry mob. "Come to burn me at the stake?" she asked, her voice smooth and silk. "How very original." Claire stepped forward, holding up the ornament box. "You've taken from this town long enough. We know what you are." Mona's smirk faltered, but only for a moment. Her eyes glowed faintly, and the wind seemed to race around her. "What I am," she said, her voice now echoing with power, "is what you all wish you could be. Free, untouchable, and unforgettable." The mob surged towards Mona, but Mona was faster. With a sweep of her hands, the air around her crackled with energy, forcing everyone to stop. She turned to Claire and whispered, "You've done well, little mouse, but some secrets are better left buried." The vanishing. In a flash, Mona's form began to change. Her dress darkened, her eyes burned brighter, and her silhouette became otherworldly, as if she were both there and not there. "I'll be back," she whispered, her voice carrying through the night as she disappeared into the woods, leaving behind only faint traces of magic and the smell of jasmine. The aftermath. The townfolk stood in silence, the firelight dimming as they realized Mona was truly gone. Claire, clutching John's faintly glowing figurine, wept silently. The ornament box now lay empty, its magic spent. The town began to recover, but the memory of Black Mona lingered. Some claimed to hear her laughter in the wind. Others said they saw her silhouette in the forest at dusk. Claire, though heartbroken, vowed to protect the town from Mona's return. But deep in the woods, far from praying eyes, Mona waited. Her words echoed in the hearts of those who had dared to challenge her. "I'll be back." The end of the beginning. This tale of love, power, and dark secrets leave rooms for Mona's return, her legend growing with each retelling. Would you like a sequel or a deeper dive into any part of the story?